Do you ever get really excited when you find out someone has the same birthday as you? Like, people just don't understand what it's like to be born on January 22nd. So when someone else is born on January 22nd, you're like, you get me. Well, guess what? This video is all about helping you find the likelihood of someone having the same birthday as you. To do this, we're going to assume that a year is always 365 days long, so no leap year birthdays. Sorry, February 29ers. Also, we need to assume that everyone has the same chance of having a birthday on the same day of the year. Now, obviously, some birthdays are more likely to occur than others, but what I mean is we can't just go to some convention on people who have birthdays on February 14th to grab our sample. Eliminating any type of bias in the extra day every 4 years helps to make the math a little easier, while not altering the results in a significant way. To get started, let's find the probability of two people having the same birthday. So our first person can have any birthday, which means he has 365 possible birthdays out of 365 days. That makes the probability 365 over 365, or 100%. Basically, our first person is guaranteed to have the right birthday. Now, the odds of the second person having a birthday on the exact same day are 1 in 365. In order to find the probability that these two people have the same birthday, we need to multiply their separate probabilities together. As you probably know, 365 over 365 times 1 over 365 is equal to 1 over 365, or about 0.27%. What if we did 3 people? Well, the odds of the first guy and second guy having the same birthday is still 1 over 365. Maybe the first and third person will share a birthday instead. That probability is still 1 over 365 as well. What if the second and third person were born on the same day? How about if all 3 of them were born on the same day? Yikes, things are getting pretty wild. If we were to take this even further and try 4, 5, 6, or even 7 people, things would get even crazier. But if it's this complicated to find out if I share the same birthday with someone, then I'm totally fine with just not knowing. So, is there an easier way to find out? Yes. We just have to utilize one of the most foundational and elementary rules of probability. The sum of the probability that an event both will and won't happen is 1. Always. A simpler way of saying this is that the odds that anything could or could not happen is always 100%. Like, you could decide to turn your homework in on time, or you could not. The odds that one of those 2 things will happen is 100%. Your teacher is either getting your homework or he's not. So, with this idea in mind, if we are able to find the probability that not one person has the same birthday as another, then we can use our little probability rule that we just talked about to find the probability that 2 people will have the same birthday. In order to do this, let's take our rule and write it out as an equation. So this is the probability that the event does happen plus the probability that the event doesn't happen is equal to 1. We are trying to find out if people share a birthday or not, so we can just rewrite what we have in our parentheses here. The probability that 2 people share a birthday plus the probability 2 people will not share a birthday is equal to 1. Now, since we want to find out if 2 people share the same birthday, we need to get the probability that 2 people share a birthday on the side by itself. So we can just subtract no 2 people share a birthday from both sides. So then we have the probability 2 people share a birthday is equal to 1 minus the probability that no 2 people share a birthday. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Now, what is the probability that no one will have the same birthday? Remember, the first person is allowed to have any birthday. However, person number 2 has to have a different birthday, which means there are 364 other days to pick from. So the odds that these 2 people have different birthdays is 364 over 365. Now, when we get to our third person, they will have 363 days to choose from. If we want to find the probability that person 2 and person 3 have different birthdays, then we need to multiply. 365 over 365 times 364 over 365 times 363 over 365, which is all equal to 0.99179, or 99.18%. To solve the probability that 4 people will have a different birthday, then we must multiply again. 364 over 365 times 363 over 365 times 362 over 365, which is all equal to 0.98364, or 98.36%. Now, we could keep on multiplying things out forever, But instead, here's a formula for the probability that n people will have different birthdays. Maybe you remember permutation notation. We can apply that and rewrite this. Now, let's say that I wanted to figure out how many people I would need to get in a room in order to have a 50% chance of sharing a birthday. Well, we already discovered that the probability of identifying at least 2 people that have the same birthday is 1 minus the probability that everybody has a different birthday. And we also now know how to find the probability that everybody has a different birthday for any number of people. The simplest way to do this just happens to be to type numbers into the calculator until you get 50%. When you do this, you'll find that the smallest number of people you can have in a room in order to have a 50% shot at sharing a birthday is 23 people. 23 people gives us a probability of about 50.73%. I hope that this video has been helpful. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for further videos. See you guys next time.